Can you talk about some of the data sets that you currently use and how you get them to work in harmony with each other?
Sure.
Or not in harmony?
You know, we obviously acquire data from various aspects of the puzzle. We have social data that we get from some of the proprietary tools and partners that we have, like NetBases and the Tracks of the world. We get information and technology from the Foresters of the world. We get specific media behavior from MRI. We also do a lot of our own proprietary research from a quant perspective, where we can tie into social aspects of people's behavior by getting their permission to kind of lean into their Facebook status updates and stuff like that, almost using Facebook as a research or a search mechanism where I can look at what you have kind of typed in your status reports for the past 6 months and see whether you're talking about food if it comes to a client like Outback of ours, or if you're kind of getting into finance, and what are the various aspects or topics you get into, and whether you're an influencer or not. So there are various aspects that we can now plug in. Obviously, it's not very simple because all this data is coming from various disparate sources, and at the end of the day, we have to tie it in together. Some of the times it's easier to tie in. Some of the times we have to make a leap in making sure we are connecting the dots, and this is where a little bit of art as well comes in, and experience, and figuring out what really is happening, and understanding and kind of adding on some kind of a qualitative research or a quantitative research that kind of starts to bind some of these data elements. We're going to see that become more solidified, I'm sure, as we proceed, because we are now, especially online, going to be at a realm where we can track at a customer level a lot more in depth, a lot more activity across channels than we would have today. And it's going to become easier, I hope, for all of us. But at the same time, as we proceed, there's going to be more data available. So it's kind of the fun of the activity, I guess.
How would you bring in television data, and what type of television data would you bring into these geolocated and purchasing data?
You know, even with television data, with Nielsen's, with RentRack, what they are getting into is a lot more of cross-channel behavior. Even with television data, we are now being able to kind of append a lot of the geolocated information, especially with people like RentRack, where they can track the long tail with their larger databases. We now have the ability to append a lot more information at a customer level and analyze what is really happening when someone is watching a TV show. We also get a lot of television data, viewership data, through mobile phones these days. So there is technology out there today where I can serve you a particular mobile ad based on what you're watching on television. So that same activity or technology that helps us serve that ad also gives us the intelligence to see what you're looking at and what you're not looking at, and your behavior with your other devices at that point in time. So even as television progresses to the next realm, where we are seeing television is getting more digitized in many ways, and it's going to get closer to the store. Much of the television activity is going to get to a place where you'll have the ability to kind of purchase stuff, which you already do in many respects in television, but that behavior is going to get massified in many respects. So more and more television, digital, mobile, print, all those things are going to come a lot closer together, and it's not going to be where I have, I'm looking at a television behavior separately from the mobile behavior. So you're going to see a lot more of that connect and collide together.
Which gets us to the issue of cross-platform measurement. It's not quite there yet. What do you think needs to be done? What do you think the challenges are that can be overcome? And what do you think challenges will be, perhaps insurmountable, if any?
I think with the introduction of, for example, Atlas with Facebook, that is to me a first step in really exploring cross-channel behavior, where now at a customer level they can analyze behaviors where it wasn't possible before with cookie technology. So that is definitely a first step. There are so many other aspects that will come into the way, because there'll be other vendors or other players in the marketplace that will come in with their own technology, whether it be an Amazon within their world. So what you're going to see is micro worlds within each world, where you then have to figure out what is really happening, because what Atlas might tell you as a picture might be very different from what Amazon might tell you, and how you utilize those things will become critically important. I think one of the barriers, obviously, and maybe rightfully so, will be privacy. So how and what is shared with you as a brand and with you as a consumer, or about you as a consumer, is going to become very relevant. And privacy is usually an interesting game, because some people, when asked, obviously consumers are concerned about it, but at the same time they're okay with sharing a lot of the information, and know when the information is being shared, as long as we are making relevant use of it, that it's a good thing. So I think somewhere the balance will have to be maintained on what we can do with it, and how we as marketers be responsible with the data we're getting.
So we're talking about privacy, and you were talking about geolocation and individual behavior and purchasing behavior. We're bordering on the creepiness factor. Do you think that it's a generational issue, or do you think the creepiness factor can permeate across all types of consumers?
I think it's both. To me, it's not just a generational issue. I feel even across generations in today's world, we as a target or as a consumer are getting more comfortable with being creeped on, I guess. At the same time, it also depends on how we as marketers pose that particular, take advantage of the data that is available to us. So many a times today when you visit a particular website, you're obviously being cookied, and this is happening for a long, long time. People know that we target, you based on that particular data. Now the question is, how overt should we be with it, and how specific do we get on things that are a bit personal to you versus not? And I think part of this is a judgment issue. And part of it is a comfort issue. So there are some people who are obviously a lot more comfortable with that information being shared. But more and more, that comfort level has increased. And I don't think it's a generational thing. It's a today thing, and it's comfort with people who use technology more and more. And as people utilize technology more and more, there's a little bit of acceptance that, that data that you are sharing or that you are going through is accessible by a lot of people. And I think you'll get pissed when somebody crosses the line on using the data in a wrong way.